Mark Henry did the split screen with 2.0 and Danny Garcia and Darby Allin and Sting. And I swear to God, in this camera shot, if you go back, 2.0 and Garcia together, I don't know whether they looked like stars of Saved by the Bell or outtakes from Blue Boy magazine.
Oh, stop it. Will you stop?
Either one. But anyway, then we come to the entrance. CM Punk, music, signs, excitement. He dove into the crowd over the rail, not as a wrestling dive, but just as a, hey, catch me dive. And they did. And then as they stand him up, did you see the guy at the railing offer him a beer?
I saw Punk's face.
And yeah, Punk thinks, where have you been for 20 fucking years, right?
Yeah, really.
But anyway, and then he's going to do color for the main event. So at least we got the Punk entrance in. And the main event is, of course, Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia, whose brothers-in-law are Daniel Garcia and 2.0. They are on every show, out of nowhere. Talk about the RKO. We've been mentioning this. It's amazing. They've got a couple of wrestlers that we sure would like to see more than once every 6 to 8 weeks, but we're looking at these guys multiple segments per show. Anyway, Daniel Garcia and Darby Allin have a combined weight of possibly 300 pounds. And I love Darby now, and especially after the pay-per-view. We'll talk about that here in a little while. But if you put him in with guys that almost looks like him physically, then you've made him less special. At this point, the thing that's special about him is he's smaller than everybody else, but he looks like he's actually trying to beat somebody up and uses it. But this visual looked like ultra-violent children's wrestling or two really pissed off anorexics. It didn't help the visual of this program to be taken as major, and there's CM Punk's voice. And by the match, within the first 1 minute, 60 seconds, Darby Allin dove backwards on the floor at a dead run, head first, over a table and landed literally on his head backwards, upside down on the floor in between the table and the railing. And then Garcia shot him into the ring steps. And then it's just, I couldn't. I'm going to see what the finish is, right? Because elsewise, I'm going to go out of my mind. So I fast forward to the finish, and both of them were selling, and Darby Allin grabs Daniel Garcia's legs and ties him up at his thing, 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, here come the heels in for the heat because, of course, it's a match on AEW television. So naturally, there's going to be an afterbirth. All the heels at ringside are going to jump in. Sting gets on Daniel Garcia. 2.0 are killing Darby Allin. Punk stands up, walks to the ring, and backs him off. And Darby Allin hits the dive out through the ropes onto the two of them. And then Punk and Darby are face to face. It was what it was, and Punk didn't get any on him. As far as the match, I can't, because this was the exact opposite of the best match that I've ever seen Darby Allin have, which was on the pay-per-view, and we'll talk about it. But this started out within the first 60 seconds with every worse instinct that Darby Allin has against a fucking guy that could use of Cheerios for a hula hoop. So I didn't care for the rest of it.
All right, that was Rampage.
Well, did you have any thoughts on the match?
I didn't mind the match. I thought it was all right. I like Punk on commentary. I thought Punk, there was a period of time on Raw a while back. I think maybe he was injured or something, where Punk did commentary.
And was good. I remember that. That's years ago.
I remember being upset that he was going to return to action because he was so fucking good on commentary on there. Punk was great. I personally wouldn't have done anything physical with Punk before the pay-per-view, but I could understand the argument for doing something physical with Punk before the pay-per-view. I would have just gone into that with a complete mystery. What can he throw a punch? Can he do anything? We haven't seen anything. I wouldn't have done anything.
Well, no, we
physical.
did. We saw the remember the triple babyface finish giving thing. He did.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that either. And that's my point. I wouldn't have done that. I would have not done anything physical with Punk. I like Daniel Garcia. He is skinny, but there are lots of skinny guys there. Is he skinnier than Sammy Guevara? I mean, there are other skinny guys there.
Well, that's the point, is if you've only got a couple and they're away from each other and they're on opposite sides and you can integrate them, it's not even noticeable. But when everybody looks like an emaciated high school kid, sooner or later, it's just a visual that's just...
I think there's a reason Daniel Garcia is there and getting some attention. I don't know if this attention will be
it's because
full blast going forward.
Whoever his sister married in the company, maybe one of the accountants. I mean, why else?
I think he shows
over some of the guys that are there that never get on TV.
Well, I agree with you about that. And we've talked about that with MJF and FTR and various other people. Even some of the people we don't like, they just randomly appear and then disappear off TV for months. But what I've seen from him, he's got good facial expressions. He's technically all right in the ring. Hopefully he fills out. I've got nothing against this, and I got nothing against this being the main event of the show that airs at 10 o'clock and the main event goes on at 11 or 20 to 11. I thought it was all right. I didn't think they did a great job on either show as far as it being a go-home. With that said, they apparently shattered every pay-per-view record they've ever had, but I think that's more about the matches than the actual build-up.
Yeah, the TV the Friday night before didn't make any difference whatsoever, positive, negative, or indifferent.
Right,
they were going to get it regardless at that point.
But, I guess that one episode with Punk was such a unique and special episode. I mean, it'll go down in wrestling history as one of the most special episodes of AEW show for sure, but even any wrestling show of the past 20 years. And I guess I kind of hoped that it would be up at that level, but, kind of the show's going back and forth. There's good stuff, there's bad stuff. The Mark Henry segment has become a favorite of mine. I can't explain why I get such a kick out of Mark Henry, the sportscaster, but I do. Jericho sucks. Get Jericho off fucking commentary.
Now, wait a minute. The triple split screen, though, when there's two guys in one, three guys in the other, and Mark Henry's as wide as two guys in the middle, it's starting to get busy.
Not as busy as the commentary booth. I can't deal with Jericho yelling nonstop. It's bad. It's bad.
Well, you know what you need to do then?
What's that?
You need to watch the television program, but you need to customize what you're listening to. Have your own soundtrack. Play your own thing. March to the beat of your own drummer, Brian.
That's a great idea.
And you can do that easily with the Raycon earbuds. Folks, if you're wanting to create your own soundtrack and live your life to the beat of your own drummer, pop in your Raycon wireless earbuds. Just grease them up and stick them in your head. Actually, these new ones, you don't even need the grease. They come with a bunch of gel tips that are comfortable, and they don't stick out of your ears. There's no wires and stems and antenna and tuba-fours hanging out of the things. They start at half the price of the other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you can't lose because you get your money back if you're not filled with happiness. And we mentioned, and you poo-pooed at this, Brian, the other day, but they have a 32-hour battery life. So you can listen to what you want, when you want, for as long as you can stay awake.
I didn't poo-poo at that. I poo-pooed at the idea that you said I didn't have things that I could listen to for 32 hours straight, and I named several musical artists that I could listen to for 32 hours straight.
Well, you poo-pooed something, but I cleaned it up. Anyway, folks, if you want you'll have to stick needles in under your fingernails to keep yourselves awake long enough to let these batteries run down. But nevertheless, the Raycon wireless earbuds help you create your own soundtrack, and they're available right now because the Drive-Thru listeners can get 15% off of their Raycon order at buyraycon, BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE. That's buyraycon.com/JCE to save 15% off everything you buy on their website, which apparently functions. Unlike mine, somebody figured this out.